Alright, welcome to McBoss Capital channel. My name is Michael Chu, and this is market recap video for April 11, 2025. So we just had one of the most volatile week ever in the US market. There's basically a lot of trade policy and economic concerns. On Monday and Tuesday, we saw sharp declines early, and because of the escalating trade tensions. President Trump announced sweeping tariffs on imports, including 145% duty on Chinese goods, which led to a sell-off in stocks. And S&P Dow experienced historic losses on Monday and Tuesday. On Wednesday, temporary relief on some tariffs led to a dramatic rally, with the S&P 500 gaining 9.52%, one of the largest gains since World War II. And then on Thursday, the market reversed some of its gains as uncertainty over trade negotiations resurfaced. The S&P 500 fell 3.46% and the Dow dropped over 1,000 points. On Friday, the week ended on a positive note with the Dow rising 619 points and the Nasdaq climbed 2.06% as optimism grew over potential trade deals. Overall, the S&P had a 5.7% weekly gain, the Nasdaq 7.3% up, and Dow gained 5%. Here's the Nasdaq Composite Index, the weekly chart right here. As you can see, we had a very sharp rebound this week. We did close pretty much near the top of the range, so that's a pretty good rebound. However, if you draw a trend line, you can probably see that the trend line is still down. So we are a little bit off it right now. As you can see, we came all the way to the top here on the trend line, but it just kind of lost power on Thursday, I mean, and then Friday we came back some. We'll look at the daily chart right now. Here's how this week started. It went to a new low on Monday morning, and then it did reverse and kind of closed near a little bit above the previous Friday. And then on Tuesday we have a huge down day again. We didn't hit a new low, so that's one thing to note. And also, I'm not sure, we barely hit a new high here, intraday high. And then on Wednesday, again, we didn't hit a new low, and then the market catapult on the news that there's relief for many countries on the trade policy, and then that really shot it up all the way to 21-day line. And so you can see the 21-day line is clearly a resistance level. So, and then on Thursday, we gave back pretty much nearly half the gains. So I think Nasdaq was up Wednesday 12%, and on Thursday it was down. Okay, not bad, 4.3%. And then Friday we gained back 2%. So we end as we saw in the weekly chart, we end up pretty close to the top. But again, we still have that trend line, and that will be something to watch out to see if it can go above it. Probably if it does go above it, probably that will coincide with a fall through day. We are officially like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days now into this attempt rally. So obviously, in a bear market, there's always bear market rally, just like this one here, and it fell right there, right near the 21-day line. So this is now the second time we have come to the 21-day line, and so far we have been rejected. Now, but the one good thing about this chart right now is that we are making higher lows, and so we'll see. And because obviously, it could have gone down on Friday, but it didn't. And continue back down. But again, it's too early to say because the 21 day is still catching up. As it comes down, we already got rejected here. If we get another rejection here, say Monday morning or wherever, that won't be good because people will be able to see clearly that it has been rejected and it probably will go back down. However, the one good thing is that the low is very far away now. Um, so there's a higher chance of a successful fall through day. Now, just because, as I mentioned, just let's say it does go above this trend line here. Let's say it go above here. Again, one day or so doesn't mean much. Usually, we want to see like after the follow through day. Let's say it does cross that trend line. After the follow through day, it can hold instead of reversing. So this is a clear example of what happened. It reversed, and then same thing here. It went all the way to this line, even though it didn't cross it. The next day it gapped down, right? But let's just say it comes back to the trend one day and it crosses it, and that will cross the trend line here, and then we want to see it hold here. That's the key. If it dropped back below the trend line right away, that's really bad. That's what happened here on the origin. So that's something we will be watching. So here's the S&P 500 weekly chart, very similar chart. We're still on the downtrend. On the daily chart, also very similar. It is making higher lows, and then we did make a higher high up to Wednesday. So again, Thursday and Friday right here, we are getting closer back to the highs of the week. So the 21 day is coming down. So we will see what happens as it comes near that line. The 10 days right here. So it's sitting at the 10-day right now. So that's good at least. But if it, but 21 days probably where more people are focused right now because they're so close to each other. Here's the Dow chart again, very similar. We broke all the support levels, right? Like this big support level, since what? Like this is around the April or May low here of 2024, so over a year ago. And yeah, the market definitely, for most of this stock, they probably have entered bear market. Here's the Dow on the daily. Again, very similar chart. Little bit weaker than the other two because it never came close to the 21 day. Like close enough, but not close to the line. Here's Russell. Again, Russell is the weakest chart. It only came up to the 10-day. So we'll watch for this. So one of the biggest concern right now is the bond market. It really shot up this week at a very sharp. You can see how sharp this is. This is a huge concern. And the crazy thing is on Wednesday, despite some people say the bond market has forced Trump's hand. That's why it tends to relief. But the funny thing is it never really dropped much that day, even after that announcement. And then on Thursday, initially it dropped, but then it bounced back really quick, and Friday it make a new high again. So this is starting to concern a lot of people in the bond market. Rumors, lots of China selling the bonds big time, and so forth. However, they did have a Thursday. They have some people buying, they're selling their bonds, and they were selling at a pretty good rate. So U.S. basically came out and said, yep, they're still confident that investors are buying their debt. So yeah, after that, uh, there's a huge drop on Thursday and Friday on the U.S. dollar. Um, yeah, so it looks like with the tariff stuff, U.S. and China are both trying to lower their dollar on yuan to so that they can compete with the export side. So it is happening right now. So it has dropped a lot. And the oil, sitting near the lows right now. It bounced back a little bit on Friday, but not much, as you can see here. The big winner this week is probably gold. A lot of gold stocks went up to new highs. We'll show some of that in the growth stock video. Make sure you follow that. Will come up probably later today, on Saturday. So you can see huge jump here, 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row after a sharp correct pullback to the red line, which is the 50-day. It bounced off that and look at where it is now. As for Bitcoin, we also see some bounce as well. It actually make higher highs on Friday than Wednesday, so that is actually very positive for this index ETF here. And so Bitcoin looks like it's potentially near the trend line. If it breaks out, I probably would wait for this 50-day line here because it's so close to each other. If it can cross both of them, that will give me a lot more confidence. The technical signal that a lot of people may not come to know is the death cross. Basically, what happens is when the 50-day line, which is the red line here, crosses below the 200-day line, which is the black line here, that's usually a very negative sentiment. So again, because this could continue to go down, and this could continue to face resistance here, and obviously this is the first leg down, bounce here, second leg down, bounce here, and then this could continue for a third leg down, which could test the low here before it finally comes back again. So this is very typical in a bear market that we have like three legs down. So I just want to make this aware because this could happen. And obviously we all want it to just come back up and recover over time. But usually, Unless we're starting to hear good news on the tariff side, I think this is going to be very hard to for this to happen. Again, nobody knows what's going to happen, but the market is dominated by tariff news right now. It seems like all the other news doesn't matter as much, even with CPI inflation down and producer price index down, and even yeah, a lot of economic numbers didn't seem to matter as much. The market seems to be really focused on tariff news right now. The 50 ETF here in the latest ETF. We're also seeing the bounce here on this index here, and on Friday we actually did close above the intraday high on Wednesday, so that's really good news. So it shows that growth stocks may have a chance here to continue higher. Again, we are going to face this resistance downtrend line. We're very close to it right now, and it's a very steep downtrend line. So so it's possible it will come up and get tested once more. But again, if it comes up above this line and it can hold its gains after that, that'll be really good before it continues again. So that's kind of what we're hoping for, at least in the short term here. This week we have Empire State Manufacturing Survey on Tuesday, U.S. retail sales for March on Wednesday. Yeah, this should give a reading into the health of the consumer, and then the market will be closed on Good Friday. Next week, we also have earnings from Netflix, United Health, Bank of America, and Taiwan Semiconductor. So here's the accumulation, the New York Stock Exchange Advanced decline line. You can see here into Tuesday, we hit a new low here, very sharp downtrend here. And then on Wednesday, we see a bounce because of the big move up day there. And then on Thursday, we came back down. And then, the good thing is we didn't hit a new low. But then on Friday we went up again, so it's kind of stuck in this range right now. So um, hopefully we don't want to see it make a new low. That's the key here. On the Nasdaq, very similar. Wednesday we bounce back here, and then Thursday, I can't really tell if we make a new low or not. But yeah, it's really near the lows right now, so that's not a good sign. So we'll see if it can continue this bounce or not. So from IBD perspective, this week we are still in correction with 0 to 20% allocation in terms of accumulation and distribution in the stocks. You can see we saw huge selling since the last Friday, Thursday here, and we're seeing continue Monday and Tuesday was a huge down day as well. Lots of distribution here. On Wednesday we saw that big bounce, and we got more accumulation coming back. But after that, you can see it reverse again Thursday and Friday. Um, However, you can see the accumulation. There's at least some accumulation by the end of the week. So that's good. At least some stocks are seeing accumulation by the end of the week. So whether this is a turn, it's too early to tell. But at least some stocks are doing okay. And on the industry group side, very heavy selling since the previous Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. On Wednesday, we saw the big bounce. Again, Thursday we reverse, but at least we see a slight accumulation now on the industry group as well. So overall, on the sector side, you can see technology barely turned green. This is net accumulation minus distribution, the number of stocks here. So obviously in the common commodities area, like gold stocks are the ones that hitting gold, and I mean hitting new high, and so there like a lot of positives there, like net accumulation minus distribution. So in general, it's doing better. And then you see financial is the worst still. But that's semiconductor. So we just come back to the 10-day. This is not as strong as the index. It would be nice if we came back to 21-day. So this is definitely lagging a little bit despite Wednesday's bounce. Here's Nvidia. So you can see Nvidia came back across this 21-day moving average, the pink line. That's good, and we see the higher lows here. And yeah, this is actually better than the uh, semiconductor index, right? On Friday, you can see it came back to the 21-day, and now it's slightly above it. So this is looking pretty good. So we'll see if this continues. So the big line is the red line here, 50-day coming down. So we'll see if it does come back to it. We want to see if we can, again, cross it and then hold that gain there. And even if it stay there for a week, that's fine, as long as it can hold that red line. Finally, we're looking at the software group here. Again, this is clearly in a downtrend right now. So this one is also at the 10-day, near the 10-day. 21 days more up higher here, and again, very similar pattern. So we'll see what happens. Like again, if we see a gap down Monday or next week early, and coming back down, we could easily go for this low again. So we just want to be really cautious. Well, Microsoft looks really good here. Like Wednesday's move is a huge move. It came all the way back to nearest 50-day line, across 10, 21 day. So it looks like 10 and 21 day. It's able to find support, right? So that's really good. And now we're gonna challenge the 50-day very soon here. So here's Google. It came to the 21 day, found support 10 days so far. It's been tested a few times now. So let's see how it reacts to this 21 day next week. Meta, very similar. This one looks a little bit lagging on Friday. It didn't bounce as much as others did, so that's a little bit of a concern there. Amazon also in the downtrend, very similar. It only got up to the 10-day, so again, not very strong at all. So Apple, after a huge selling down to this low on Wednesday here, we able to come back up, pretty quick here to the 10-day line, and then again Friday it came back again to the 10-day line. So there is some support. Definitely. Question is, let's see, it's still lagging compared, like it's not near the 21 day, but at least from this big drop it has come back quite a bit. So let's see how that progresses. Again, this one probably very heavily impacted by China, the tariff on both sides, right? So and Tesla surprisingly, I feel like you know it has tested the low here recently, right? So that's really good. And then it bounced back pretty quick. On Wednesday, you see it just came back to the 10-21 day line right there. The only problem was Friday, we didn't see that bounce that some of the other stocks did, like Microsoft. So that's a concern. It actually closed a little bit red. So I'm not sure why. But yeah. So Netflix also did undercut the low here, but it bounced back pretty quick after that. In fact, on Wednesday, it kind of went above the trend line a little bit here. But again, Friday, very similar to Tesla, we didn't see the bounce we want. Obviously, we have earnings news coming up very soon, so that probably going to be a trigger. Netflix has been known to be a stock that moves on earnings. You can see the gap up here. Here's another move here. So thank you all for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. I'll be coming out with the growth stocks list. There's slight improvement. Let's see who the new potential emerging leaders are. Maybe we'll talk more about that in that video. Thank you for watching.